Welcome back to Brashenomics. You know, talking about a lot of things that clutter lives. Well, you know, I've heard from parents, and I don't have a teenager, but I have heard teenagers can clutter lives a little bit, make some of the things you're focused on a little bit harder. Sorry for all our teenage listeners. I'm sure we have a lot. But, you know, Brett Chittum joins us again from the Chittum Agency. And, you know, in addition to owning his own agency, he's a guest speaker for a lot of new insurance agents entering the industry. Well, first of all, welcome back, Brett. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Ben?
Good. You know, you have been here with us watching the snow come, the rain come, a little sun. I mean,
I am. I was out in the rain yesterday, and it wasn't fun. It was actually sunny, and then all of a sudden downpoured on me.
And your monster truck rides real well in the rain.
I haven't gotten that one yet.
Well, Brett, you know, speaking of clutter and teenagers, I don't have one, but I heard they're tough. And of course, driving. One thing that you have talked about, and I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about today, is just teen driving, because it can be a difficult process to kind of engage in for teenagers and also for people and parents who are maybe holding the insurance policies.
Yeah, well, one of the things I wanted to bring, really, this isn't about scaring parents into not letting their kids drive. It's more about scaring parents into helping their kids drive, because it's going to happen. When, you know, that it's that age of 16 and that your son or daughter is sitting there going, I get my license. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, my
this
insurance
is a bad idea.
Bad idea. Well, I'm the youngest of 8, and my dad, he was used to it by then. But it's you know, they're thinking their insurance rates are going to go up. So many things are going to happen. I had a client a month ago added their teenage daughter, and I will tell you, women at that age are better drivers. So what happened with her is 2 weeks after she got her license, totals the car. Didn't hit anybody else but a guardrail, but totals her car. We as parents need to be working with our children in getting them to drive safely and be more attentive drivers. So, you know, I got some statistics, but first off, you know, teens, they have a higher risk of accidents. There's no doubt to that. You know, and these factors are, they like to go fast. You know, their friends are telling them, "Oh, come on, let's see what this thing can do." Kids are starting into alcohol and drugs at a younger age. That affects it. Ignoring the right of way. Have you been cut off by a teenager before?
Yes.
I have too. My horn doesn't work anymore because I think I broke it. Tailgating, they're in a hurry. They're trying to get around people. Improper passing, driving to the left of center.
It sounds like they're just kind of anxious.
Yeah.
They're just anxious to get to where they want to be or whatever it is. You know, I used to drive in the fast lane, and now I just drive in the right lane. It's just easier.
I took an oath one time. I took a challenge from a friend of mine, and he said, for a week, because I was that, you know, we talked about speeding and accidents and stuff a few months back. And I said, okay, I'm going to drive in the slow lane. I'm going to go the speed limit for a week. Boy, that was interesting to actually do that, because I'm that 10 mile an hour over guy. And that's what I do. But yeah, angst. I mean, they're anxious.
Now, hold on, before we go. I tend to think that sometimes the far right lane actually is moving faster because it's all the people getting off the freeway. So, you know, I watch the people in the left lane, especially, okay, 85th going, or 405 going north, right lane, fastest by far.
Yeah, but not on I-5 at U District.
Yeah, that's true.
Get into that lane and you're going to stop.
I guess you got to know your area. Okay.
You've got to know your area. Well, no, and you talked about kids are anxious. Where do they learn that from?
Their parents who are on their phones, checking them every 2 seconds.
Well, you know, mom having to get the kids to this sports event, to this concert, to this school event, to whatever. They're getting anxious. We need to first look at ourselves as parents and say, what am I teaching my kids? The last time I got pulled over, with my kids in the car. My son's pretty funny afterwards. He didn't say anything during it, but he said, "Dad, you did something wrong, didn't you?" They learn this from us, and I haven't gotten a ticket since, although it's been 7 months. But anyways, we're not here to talk about me and my tickets. We're here to talk about teenage drivers.
Just keep revealing. Keep revealing,
you
Brett.
You get me in trouble, man, every
buddy.
single time.
Oh, buddy.
Well, what I want to talk about is some statistics, because it's not about scaring people into not driving. It's about scaring people into learning how to drive. And each year, over 5,000 teens aged 16 to 20 die due to fatal injuries caused by an accident. And about 400,000 teenage drivers will be seriously injured.
Wow.
Every year. The risk of being involved in a car accident is the highest for teens 16 to 19. And for each mile driven, teen drivers from those age brackets are more than 4 times likely to be in an accident.
Do you think that a lot of these injuries, now I'm sure they're in more accidents, there's no doubt. Do you think that a lot of these injuries, and this could be something for parents to consider, is because it's, he's a teenager, I'm going to go buy him the cheap car, or they're going to drive the less expensive car, as opposed to the one that's maybe safest?
Well, yeah, that gets me, because it's true. I hear that every day. I just bought my son a 1990 Honda Accord. No airbags, no anti-lock brakes, nothing. And that's what they're going to drive in this. I'm not saying a Honda Accord's a tin can.
Sure.
But into this tin can of a car where they could be driving something that's a little more safe, has airbags. I think they should enact a law that you can't start your car until your seatbelt's on. And if anybody out there is listening, please do it. I mean, that would be important, because a lot of teenagers don't feel they have the time to put on their seatbelts until they see the red and blues behind them. I don't know. It's one of those. That's just something. Reveal it, Ben. Come on.
I'm not always wearing my seatbelt either, but anyways. So, Brett, so let's talk a little bit about, what do you do to help your teenager drive better, to feel more comfortable as a parent? Obviously these statistics, they're huge. It's a big number. Yeah. I don't know that they're shocking, because I think people have an idea of how many, injuries happen. You're looking at 5,000 deaths. That's a lot. Talk a little bit about, the safety issues and maybe how to be a little bit safer.
Well, it's all, first off, it's about education. And I want to give you a website that I found in looking into this, because one of the things I offer in my agency is when someone calls me and says they have a young driver that's now going to be driving, I say, get them into my office. I have a video. I can sit down with them and show them. And then I talk to them about what's going to happen as they start to drive. And in these first few years, what they need to look out for. And I take an hour or two with my young drivers in my agency to do that.
And you're a big guy. You're probably a little bit more intimidating than their, mom and dad telling what not to do for the 16th year in a row.
I think it's I don't know if I can say powdered butt syndrome on the air.
You can.
It's a matter of, as a parent, they change their diapers and they're less apt to listen to you as they would somebody else. Right. And I offer that to every one of my clients.
It seems like it would make a lot of sense, though. Why not have somebody else who can go in? Because you can go to the driving classes, and I think, that becomes I have to do this to get my license. And I don't know how many kids are studying the workbook other than just to pass the test. It's not really trying to learn anything. That's kind of how our whole school system is, but that's a whole nother topic. But I think to have somebody else who can be in the parent's corner, go, look, if this happens, you're going to lose your license because you won't have insurance. Mm-hmm. And having you be, having someone who's in insurance being able to say that to a kid, there's a lot more weight to that.
Yeah, exactly. A lot more weight, a lot more credibility. I see it. I've heard it happen. I see it every day. Well, not every day, but I see it a lot more than their parents. It's funny how you say they take this test they take it and just to pass it. There was a study done in Illinois a few years back, and they went through a year of drivers, and 3 months made them retake the test, and none of them passed it. Well, not none of them, but I think 85% couldn't pass the test 3 months later. Sure. It's scary what happens. We're geared that way. You got to take a test. You got to take a test. You got to study for it, and then forget all the information.
It's all the way through college. It is ingrained, not even 16, but I think everywhere from elementary school through college.
Yeah.
Okay, pass this class, then at the end of the semester, it's over. And then I'm going to go from statistics to a Chinese civilization class. You you go from class to class. They have so little impact on one to the next until you get into the working world. And then eventually things do start building on each other. But, from a looking back education, it does build on each other, right? You can't do algebra until you do arithmetic. What am I now, 100 years old? Until you can add and subtract or whatnot. But, there's that element of building on. And I think that has to be similar in driving and helping teens do that well.
Well, absolutely. And the more education a teenage driver can get, the better they're going to be. And I actually offer that to not only my clients, but to anybody that's interested in coming in. I've got a whole program set up for teen drivers. And I was going to give that website. And that website, there's two of them I have. The first one is www.teendriver.com. Great information, great educational pieces in there for drivers, for parents to look at. And then another one for Allstate is www.allstateteenDriver.com.
Both certainly good resources. And for people out there with teens or, who are going to start driving, there's a lot to be said about educating yourself a little bit before you just turn over the keys.
Absolutely. They need to know. I remember when I turned 16, it was here you go, get out of the house, go drive somewhere. It's not like that anymore. For one, our traffic patterns are totally different. We have too many people out on the road right now. I mean, this area, granted, I grew up in Southern California where you had 12 freeways, but they were just as packed as our 3 or 4 freeways we have here. We have too many people out on this road. Too many people not paying attention, too many people distracted or whatever it may be, that
texting and jamming to their tunes.
And that's the parents.
Yeah. I
mean, and then you throw in the teenage driver into the mix, and it's a disaster waiting to happen. And I'm surprised that I'm surprised we can get a license at 16, to tell you the truth.
Well, Brett, thanks so much, George. We have about a minute left before we have to go to break. Again, we're here with Brett Chittum, owner of the Chittum Agency. Is there any other big points that you want to make as far as teenage driving and being safe?
Well, yeah, back to it. It's about education, but I wanted to talk real quickly on a couple tips when you're talking with your insurance agent. Getting into first, ask your insurance agent: is there a program you offer? Can I get that from you or your company? Second is, make sure your kids have good grades, because if not, your rates are going to be astronomical. So make sure your kids have good grades. Talk with your insurance agency. Give me a call. Whether you're my client or not, I'm going to help you out, because that's what I believe in doing.
And, of course, those websites are a great place to start. Well, Brett,
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for joining us. When we come back, being safe is certainly something people want to do when they're driving. But have you ever thought about how to be safe if an earthquake hits? Not everybody knows what they think they know. We're going to talk with Jim Estrada when we come back. I'm Ben Brash, and that was Brett Chittum of the Chittum Agency.